Donald Trump just broke his biggest campaign promise as MAGA has fallen for it again. Now, as you know, on the campaign trail, Donald Trump said that the economy would take off on day one. He would end inflation, lower energy prices by half, that jobs would just explode across the country. Well, fast forward 8 months and the economy is falling apart, and Donald Trump has a new timeline. Take a listen.
And our big year won't be really next year. I think it'll be the year after, because when these...
Yeah, it won't be next year. The big year, the economy will recover in 2027. We were told at first it was day one, and then it was moved to the second quarter, then it was moved to the fall, and now it's 2027. And MAGA, you know he promised immediate results. You know he moved it back to Q2 in the fall, and now he's moving it out 2 years, and you're just like, well, art of the deal, what can we do? All the while, the rest of us suffer. The economy is in shambles, and the President of the United States is completely delusional about it. MAGA is going to have a full meltdown today, and Bad Bunny is the reason, as he has responded to their criticism, and the tears will be flowing. Now, if you missed it, Bad Bunny will be performing at the Super Bowl, and he is a Puerto Rican singer, and MAGA feels as if the NFL is doing it just to slight them. Well, Bad Bunny has heard all of this, and he responded by doing his SNL opening monologue in all Spanish, and then ended with this.
And if you didn't understand what I just said, you have 4 months to learn.
Yeah, basically telling MAGA and conservatives, deal with it. This is not my problem. This is a you problem. And if you want a solution to it, go ahead and learn Spanish and you can enjoy my music. But the biggest thing here is that this makes me wonder, was it ever about illegal versus legal immigrant? Because he's Puerto Rican, which makes him American. So was it really about legal immigration, or was there something else?
So you thought you were safe because you're an American citizen. You thought that the ICE raids were not going to affect you. You thought, because some reason you were born in this country, that you were protected because you're fucking supposed to be. But we found out Tuesday that that's not the case at all. They don't give a shit if you are an American citizen. In Illinois, some 300 federal agents landed on the roof, stormed an apartment complex. Some came from helicopters landing on the roof. They went through the building, door to door, kicking open doors, using flashbangs, not even giving a shit that most of these people were American citizens. They went through their apartments. They trashed all of their stuff, went through their papers. The places looked torn up like burglars had just entered. Then they not only did they do that and violate the rights of citizens of the United States, but they actually handcuffed and zip-tied a bunch of American citizens, drug them out of the goddamn building, and kept them for hours and hours before releasing them. Folks, this shit is ridiculous. It's out of control, and something needs to be done about it. Because can you imagine just sleeping in the middle of the night? You were an American citizen, you haven't caused any problems, and somebody comes busting through your door, grabs you, zip ties you, drags your ass out of the building, and holds you. No warrant, no anything, no reason to even come to your apartment. Your rights are being violated. And then not only that, they kick in your door, which is wide open for anybody else to go in there, steal your stuff. They go through all of your personal belongings, illegal search and seizure, and not giving a shit. This is out of control. More people need to be talking about this. Folks, this is disgusting. The fact that they can just kick in anybody's damn door that they want without any kind of warrant, no reason, and start going through all of your stuff, detaining you, zip tying you, and dragging you out is not the American way. It is anti-American. It is the thing that nations that we criticize all the time and our government criticizes all the time. That's the shit that they do over there. But now it's right here in our doorstep in the orange buffoons, treasonous traitor Trump's new America. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, follow for more. This is Grim with Get the Rant, and I'll see you all in the next video.
MAGA is having a meltdown right now, and Donald Trump is the reason, as he has betrayed his America First policies. Now, if you missed it, Donald Trump sent $20 billion to Argentina to help them through an economic difficulty and to try to limit Chinese influence on the country. And how did Argentina repay us? By immediately selling millions in soybeans to China, stealing U.S. soybean market. And MAGA is losing it because this is not what Donald Trump promised. He promised we would put America first. And now, because of his trade war, that he has no plan to win, no idea how to win, he is betraying all of his promises. But think of this. MAGA, farmers, two voting blocks for Donald Trump are both losing in this situation. So the question has to be asked. How many more times will you believe Donald Trump? How many more times will you believe Republicans before you realize they're lying to you, except when they say they don't care about you, they just want your vote?
So we got to talk about this. T-Dog is not above reproach, and I'm going to go ahead and call him out right now. This breaking bread with Billy and that other traitor Mark, and now having his good friend Albert at the White House today and making a $70 billion deal to expand their program. You know the program. Saying that he did a great job in 2020 and everything and all of that. I have never felt more betrayed by anybody than I do right now. You should have seen RFKJ's face. He looked like that he was about to vomit all over the floor. And you got Oz and everybody else. Where's the accountability we were promised? Where's the retribution? Everybody who doesn't have somebody anymore, where is that promise that was made to the American people to hold them accountable? I don't even know what to say right now. He is literally the only man in history that out of one side of his mouth will say America first, make America great again, and then on the other side of his mouth pull something like this. And I'm not saying that cackling Kamala would have done anything better. Probably be a whole lot worse right now. But this was a gut punch. I mean, it knocked the wind out of me. And there's a lot of things going on that I'm just not down with. And I don't care what you say, because I'm not blinded by my politics. And people that I vote for are not above me calling them out when I see them screwing up, when I see them getting too much power and starting to do whatever they want like a typical politician. You know, that's what happened to the Tea Party. They started learning how to speak Tea Party, and people got confused, and they were like, oh, I guess I should vote for Marco Rubio. Maybe America first, make America great again, has been infiltrated. I'm gonna keep my eyes open, and I'm gonna keep my ears open, and I'm gonna continue to watch as things unfold. But right now, we're still on the verge of getting into conflict. We just approved long-range Imsals May to Usher Ray. Yeah, that happened. And it also kind of looks like if, that dip that we like to have at parties, that hummus, if they don't agree to this deal that Bibi and Trump agreed to, they have like 48 hours. If they don't, well, we could be hitting Iran next. What happened to America first? Because it feels like America third. maybe America last. I saw an interview with Nick Fuentes. I don't agree with what he says, usually never, but he said some things on the Hodge Twins podcast, and I was like, I don't know, guys. Comment below. Hit me with your best shot. What do you think?
Is this 5D chess? Are we keeping our friends close and enemies closer?
Or some other weird saying that you want to come up with? Are we getting far from the mark? Are we getting far from the original intention? He's not above approach for me. Is he for you?
Hey y'all, good morning. You know how we keep hearing those MAGA regret stories? Well, I came across one last night that tickled me. Listen, so this man, he has a brother, and his brother has over $100,000 in student loan debt. But his parents are diehard MAGA. They voted for syphilitic Sid, not once, not twice, but all 3 times, y'all. 3 times. Anywho, now, the Supreme Court, you know what we're talking about. We're not talking about like Ketanji and Sonia. We ain't talking about them. We're talking about them other people. Them people on the right. Them, that Supreme Court. You know how they ruled that student loan forgiveness was unconstitutional. Well, now they are having a complete meltdown because their son has to pay that money back. Then, when he confronted his parents about it, the dad said, well, he just wasn't smart enough to understand what all that meant. Yeah, because remember the other day I told you that Sid said smart people don't like him. Now, that student loan forgiveness is gone, and they have to pay back the student loan. Now the daddy's mad because they ain't got it. Okay. I don't understand how the people do the research after the test. But, okay. Y'all have a good day.
Did you guys hear about the rural town that cheered on this administration's cuts for hospitals until their hospitals got cut? To break this down, I'm bringing in contributor Chris Mowry. Watch until the end and check this out. Thank you.
All right, there's a really wild story I want to talk about today. There's a small town in Missouri, a rural area that overwhelmingly voted for Trump, and they only have one hospital in this area. It's been serving the community for over 7 decades, has stayed open as the community has shrunk. They used to have a Walmart, the only Walmart in the area, closed, and through a lot of economic downturn, they have been able to stay open. But unfortunately, because of Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, there are fears that it may close in a town that overwhelmingly voted for Trump. And frankly, I don't think they realized they were voting for this. And I want to talk about it today. Before we get into it, if you're new here, it would mean a lot if you click like and subscribe. I'm 23 years old. My name's Chris Mowry. I'm basically a Gen Zer who screams all the time about how Republicans suck. So if you want to stay on top of the news, here's some of my takes. It would mean a lot if you subscribe down below. Before we hop into this story, this is a theme we're seeing with MAGA and Trump supporters. And I don't really know how I feel so much of saying, fuck around, find out, like these people deserve what they're getting. I really think most of the blame should go to Donald Trump for conning the American public. But at some level, I see you guys in the comments, I hear you, it's kind of mind-boggling. This went really viral the other day. This is on LinkedIn, oddly enough. A woman who owns a business. I've been getting a lot of hateful messages since my last post about my business struggles. Yes, my husband did vote for Trump. Yes, Trump's tariffs have seriously disrupted my supply chain and hurt my business. That said, I still support my husband. He voted for what he truly believed was right. It's complicated, but so is life. But like on an issue like this, is it complicated though? Like, really? This is where I get to the point where I'm like, okay, fuck around and find out. He told you a million times he's going to implement tariffs. And it really was pretty simple. He was lying to your face when he said tariffs are paid for by other countries. People like you and I screamed, hey, they're not. They're going to be paid for by American businesses, and this could really hurt. You can let me know what you think down below. But we see people like Ellie just in the last few days, a month ago. Latinas for Trump co-founder blast, quote, inhumane immigrant arrest. Florida State Senator and co-founder of Latinas for Trump issued a sharp rebuke of President Trump on Sunday as his administration seeks to ramp up deportations and other actions against migrants without legal status. Garcia took particular issue with reported tactics in southern Florida, where immigration officials have allegedly been making arrests in immigration courts and taking other steps to target individuals otherwise in compliance with legal orders. She posted on Twitter, quote, "This is not what we voted for. I have always supported Trump through thick and thin. However, this is unacceptable and inhumane." Regardless of how you feel toward these individuals, we're here now, and we.
So I'm watching MSNBC right now, and they're focused on the young Republican voters, and I guess they had some kind of focus group, and they were asking how Trump is doing at this time, and they say, for the majority, they say that they voted for him because of the economy. Well, we know the economy is not doing well, but that's not really what's on their mind, because there is a significant decrease of voter satisfaction with Trump, with the younger crowd. Okay, what they are focused on is the way he is handling immigration. They feel like it's not Christ-like, and that is their source of frustration. So they think he's doing okay on the economy. I don't see how. People losing their jobs. But these voters feel that this whole thing with immigration, you know, how are you going to call yourself a Christian and this is what you're doing in regards to the immigrants that are here in this country? So I think they're almost there. We need them to get across the finish line. But they appear to be very disillusioned with this administration. Unfortunately, the worst of the Trumper group happen to be the boomers, and then the Gen X, and then the millennials. And this is where we need to work in changing their minds. But anyway, you guys have a blessed day.
Speaking as former MAGA, okay, what you're doing, what the Democrats are doing is not working, okay? Schumer and Jeffries, they're not working. They seem like nice guys. They seem like seasoned politicians, but what they are doing is not working. If you're going to defeat Donald Trump, you need to play him at his own game because he doesn't understand anything else. He comes from the crooked and corrupt world of New York real estate. He does not understand Washington tact like Joe Biden understood it, or even like Obama or Bush understood it. He only understands and respects bullying. This is why Gavin Newsom, and I have my issues with Gavin Newsom, but this is why Gavin Newsom is starting to be accepted by the left. This is why he is resonating with so many people, because he's playing them at their own game, and it's starting to get under their skin. This is why so many people on the left love these two women, Jasmine Crockett and AOC, and this is why so many people on the right hate them. When I was MAGA, I hated these women. Well, Jasmine Crockett, I don't think was in Congress then, but I hated AOC because she posed a threat she posed an absolute threat to us. And she's not afraid, and they are not afraid to call out what Trump is doing, and what Trump is doing is blatant racism, and they do it in a way that resonates with people, and they do it in a way that fire people up. She was good at it. Nancy Pelosi was a master at it, and it was almost 20 years ago when she was elected speaker. I can't believe that I'm saying this now. I kind of miss her. I kind of miss the old broad. She's made a lot of money on the stock market, which I oppose. You know, she's done a lot of insider trading. Nobody is going to deny that. But you know what? So is he. So at this point, I would rather have her back and have the government reopen and have hospitals running than have this guy who's threatening just to burn it all to the ground if he doesn't get his way. We need to stop being nice, and we need to play their own game. Jeffries needs to take a page out of the Pelosi playbook and defeat Donald Trump at his own game. That's the only thing he understands.
I want to give you something to hold on to. When you see children that are zip-tied, when you see men hanging from trees, when you see tanks with soldiers pointing guns at American citizens, when you see boats blown up in the Caribbean with no trial or charges, when you see a flotilla stopped short of feeding starving children, when you think, oh my God, I cannot believe what is happening and what we have become, I want to give you this to hold on to. They are hastening their downfall, and I am not being cute or trite or fanciful. Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, Russell Vought, they are subtractors. They do not know how to add anything, create anything, build anything. Their entire ethos is elimination. Elimination of the enemy, elimination of social services, of safety nets, of healthcare, of government agencies, of regulations, elimination of people they don't like, elimination of people from their homes, from their jobs, from this country, elimination of humanity from our armed forces, from our police. They know nothing but elimination. And in that elimination, they hope that they can consolidate and grab power and control over people. But over time, it will shrink what they have power over because they have shrunk it. On the other side of their success is nothing. They are hastening what will come and what they are unable to see. The hope I am giving you, the vision of the future after their worst, is that there is nothing that will stop this country from tearing them down from their throne. We will be united in that.
Folks, I had an interesting conversation yesterday that I want to talk to you about. I was telling a person that early on in the whole MAGA world, I was sort of able to have empathy for those people who vote MAGA, because I figured that they were just people who had never had a good leader in their life. They had never had somebody at the top of the food chain who was able to lead a large, diverse group and take care of everybody's needs. That they figured that their only shot at being protected was to have a leader who was really cutthroat, who was willing to cheat, who was willing to play dirty. And I assume that that's because those are the only kinds of leaders that they've ever had, and that they've never assumed that their leader could get ahead and take care of everyone based on merit and empathy and a knowledge of how people tick. So I always felt like, you know what, if I ever ran into a MAGA, I could certainly talk to them, and I could certainly make a connection with them, and I could certainly disprove this whole idea that liberals are these awful people who run around getting abortions and trying to make everybody turn trans. But you know what? That has now changed. That has really changed. I feel like the longer this goes on, the longer MAGA has completely lost sight of any sort of humanity that's going to work in the long run. And unfortunately, I don't really think that the kind of good leader that we used to have is going to get us out of this problem. For instance, I don't think going high works anymore. I think, unfortunately, we have to show the Schneedles that we can go low and match their energy and blow them out of the water by their own game. And I know this because I grew up with a brother who was bullied incessantly, and I tried to defend him a lot of the time. And what I would do is I would try to show my vulnerability first, because I think when you show other people that you're willing to be vulnerable, it sort of disarms them, and it makes them feel safe. Oh, if this person shows that they're imperfect, then I guess my imperfections are not going to be skewered in this group. The other way that you have to handle it, though, when you have a bully who doesn't give a rat's ass about your vulnerability and who's going to drive a truck through it no matter what you do, is you have to show that bully that you can match their wits and that you can either humiliate them or that you can overpower them with strength. Well, I'm only 5 feet tall, so I didn't have a lot of strength behind me, but I certainly had my wits about me, and I could certainly outsmart them, and I could certainly humiliate them. And a lot of times that really worked. It works to disarm a bully when you make fun of them. My message, I guess, is that it's really a bummer that I can't access empathy, and that even if I could access empathy for MAGAs, I don't think it would really work anymore. I don't think that us creating a safe environment for them to come to our side is going to welcome them to our side. Because I think they've been so terrorized by their own side that even thinking a liberal thought is going to make them be ostracized. Absolutely an easy target to be skewered, to be piled on like children on the playground. And unfortunately, I think that fear has really sunk in. And I think MAGAs are all operating on fear all the time. And I think they don't believe that they could survive among their MAGA friends if they had any sort of liberal leanings whatsoever. So I guess I'm kind of lost, because if I can't appeal to MAGAs based on empathy, if I can't show them that I'm just as human as they are, if I can't extend some sort of understanding that they're only living the way they live because they never had a decent leader who could show them leadership that doesn't look like being an asshole, then what am I supposed to offer? What am I supposed to feel? How am I supposed to bridge the gap? I don't think I can bridge the gap. And I guess the only thing that I can say is, eventually I think MAGAs are not going to be convinced to change sides. I think they're going to pretend that they were never on the other side. And I think they're going to go back into obscurity, and they're not going to pay attention to politics very much anymore, because I think they're going to feel like they got burned by their own side. Rightly so. So I don't really think that there's going to be some big bridge, where we meet in the middle and the MAGAs realize the error of their ways and they come to the liberal side. I think it's going to be more like them just sort of dropping out of the public eye and realizing that being associated with MAGA makes them look like a snazzy. So anyway, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that none of the techniques that I learned when I was a kid to bring a group together are going to work with the MAGAs, because they are so far gone that there's nothing that you can do to bring them back. And I'm really sorry, MAGA, that you have lost even my empathy, because I tend to extend it probably more than most. So, anywho, bummer for you guys. Real bummer. Bummer for all of us.
Hey, so let's do a little bit of a military roundup in the last couple days. So, number one, Trump signed an executive order that said the military can go around arresting people, and they'll be thrown in jail for at least a year if they burn an American flag. This is an executive order, and the military doesn't just follow executive orders unless they are lawful, and this is unlawful. This is against the Constitution. This has been against the Constitution for decades. If it comes back up to the Supreme Court, then this will be a discussion about free speech. I would not expect the Supreme Court to overturn this and to make flag burning suddenly illegal, because they could have a riot on it. I am not proposing burning the flag, but I understand it. And as a military member, I fought for people's right to do that in protest to what is happening inside of this country. And so whatever Trump wants to say and says, hey, don't do it because, I'll come get you, you're still protected by the law. And the military will obey the law. They won't obey an executive order. This is a law passed down and confirmed by the Supreme Court. A federal judge in Portland delayed the deployment of National Guard troops to Portland because the protests did not meet the standard. There was no threat. There was nothing that law enforcement on the ground couldn't handle. These are protests outside of the facilities with donuts and inflatables and things like that. And the judge was like, this is a joke. We are delaying this. This is not going to happen. This is not how the National Guard is supposed to be used. And expect some of what he said to come up later in some of these other cases, especially in places like Chicago. In Chicago, apparently an armed woman and a few others rammed their cars into police cruisers immediately after Trump ordered the deployment of 300 National Guard troops to Chicago in response to protect federal facilities. And again, protecting for federal facilities and federal personnel is legal if the federal government does that. They do not have arrest rights. They cannot go around arresting people. They cannot conduct ICE raids. That is something where the governor would have to coordinate with them and allow them to do that. So those troops will probably go in. They will be sued to stop that deployment. But because of that event, they may actually get in there. And so what you'll see is some of them surrounding the ICE facilities. So be aware of that. Again, the National Guard is not your enemy. The military is not your enemy. They are following lawful orders when they get deployed. And judges are delaying those orders. So remember that as well when it doesn't meet the threshold for how the National Guard is supposed to be deployed by the federal government. So please be aware of these things. There's a couple things going on. And it's just something that we need to be aware of. Again, don't go after the Guard, don't go after the military. They are not your enemy. And this administration would love you to think that they are the enemy, so you start attacking them, so that they have, the further ability to increase that pressure and to lock down on people. So don't give them that. Take a breath, be calm, go protest. Go to these facilities and peacefully protest in mass numbers. Absolutely. Make life difficult for them. And remember, a lot of these people, these, federal employees like DHS and ICE, they're dressing up like military to confuse you. But they have to have something on their uniform that says police or DHS or ICE. They can't pretend to be military. Look for ranks. Military will not have masks on. So please be aware of that. They're trying to blend in because they're cowards. And they're using the military to protect them, the appearance of military to protect them, because they're absolutely fucking cowards. But there are ways to tell who is DHS, who is ICE, and who are the National Guard and who are the military. When they're outside of facilities, you won't see National Guard running around with them. So be aware of that. Okay? All right. So take a breath, keep protesting, keep fighting, keep putting the pressure on more and more and more. Not just October 18th, but please show up. But every day, all the time, do what you can. Okay? Thanks.
A Trump supporter has just lost their job directly because of Donald Trump's policies, and they are in a state of confusion. They are reaching out to Donald Trump for help and thinking that this should not have happened to them. Take a look at this. This person says, my wife is a nurse and was recently hired by the VA. Our home is packed up. We have a new home, spent thousands to move from Fort Worth to Waco. Following Trump's hiring freeze, the VA rescinded her job offer. Now look at what's highlighted. We are all huge Trump supporters, and I know this was an unintended consequence. What do you mean it was unintended? Did they really believe that Donald Trump could create policies that would only affect non-Trump voters, that somehow Trump voters wouldn't be caught up in all of this? This is the find out phase. This is exactly what you voted for, someone who would sow chaos. And it's not just going to affect the people you don't like, it will affect you too. And now all I can think is that this guy and his family are singing, I never thought.
Trump is doing exactly what I said he would do. He is doing precisely what I said in many, many videos, over and over and over again. And that is, he would come for black men. I told you that. He didn't hide it. He made it really clear. He spoke somewhat in coded language, but it was very obvious. Plus, I literally read Project 2025 and made many, many videos on it. So I knew he was coming, and I warned black men. And so now it's happening. At first, it was all about deportation. And then things took a shift when Trump issued that executive order having to do with law enforcement. When he said that I am going to militarize, and he said he was going to unleash the police. And even before that, in a Detroit church, he was having a campaign rally, sitting and talking and sharing his heart. And he said, just as that rally was about to end, that most of the crime in America was being committed in the African American community. Hey family, do you believe in the work we're doing? Does our content speak to you? Do you appreciate our in-depth legal analysis and political commentary from an African American perspective? Do you believe it matters to our community? Then don't just watch from the sidelines. Please click that membership button and become a member of the 2% Club today. That's right, we need just 2% of our subscribers to become channel members. For just $4.99 a month, that's less than 20 cents a day, you'll help us keep creating powerful content that defends our democracy, demands justice, and develops a strong African American community. But if you want more, at $9.99 a month, which is only 33 cents a day, you'll get access to exclusive members-only live streams, bonus content, and behind-the-scenes updates. And for just $14.99 a month, which is under 50 cents a day, our top tier members get access to live Zone calls, strategy sessions, and a direct voice in shaping this movement. We're not just building a YouTube channel. Folks, we're building a movement based on righteousness and justice. Just what our community needs in a time of disinformation and division. So if you believe in what we're doing.
Well, Donald Trump continues to betray the middle class, even the MAGA middle class who voted him in. All of our Hispanic brothers and sisters, you know, the Hispanics voted overwhelmingly to put Trump in office, and now they're staying in their homes, they're hiding in their businesses, they're hiding in their basements because they're terrified they're going to be deported. These people are doing some of the toughest jobs for almost no money whatsoever, just to raise their families, and they voted for Trump, most of them. And now they're being deported. They're pulling them literally away from their families and sending them to other countries. Okay? This is not the United States of America. This is not who we are, guys. This is not the United States. This is not our people. This is Donald Trump. This is a cult of personality that's built this following that thinks he's Jesus Christ incarnated and will follow anything he says. Then he's got the propaganda network, Fox News, the ultimate propaganda network. And, you know, people say all the time, I used to be on Fox News all the time. I've probably been on there 300 times. I used to be a regular guest on the Varney Show. And so I get asked all the time, I said, what do you think about Fox? I said, you ever notice that, you know, when you watch Fox, that all the female anchors look like Playboy models? And the male journalists are not really journalists, they're actually entertainers or comedians, like that Greg Gutfeld, who's a total idiot, and he was a comedian. That's who he's one of he's the big voice. Steve Ducey is a weatherman, and he's one of the big voices on Fox and Friends, and his kid is a reporter. It's ridiculous. This is a propaganda network. This is an entertainment channel. Here's the problem. Trump is really good at building a cult, and Fox News is really good at making it look like they're actual news when they're a propaganda network. Okay? So the problem with this is you have a lot of our country watching Fox News. That's all they watch. And I'll be honest with you. If you just watch Fox News and nothing else, and you're not that educated of a person, you'll believe everything they say because they're really good at what they do. That's one of the scariest things. That's how we got Donald Trump in office. This is one of the ways. Okay, we have a part of the country that's just been completely bamboozled. And they're our friends and neighbors. They're not bad people. They've been sucked in by a cult of personality, and we have got to get this guy out of office. We have to do it nonviolently, okay? I hope he's in handcuffs when he walks out, but even if he's not, he probably won't be because he always gets away. We know he's a convicted felon.
So Donald Trump basically went and thanked Israel for slowing down and stopping the bombing in Gaza to ensure that the hostages will be released. That a flat out fucking lie. A flat out fucking lie. I think it goes without saying that the newscaster from the video that I posted about Congo on my other page, she had it 1000% correct. And Donald Trump's delusional brain, he genuinely believes the shit that he says. In regards to the deal that fell through with Congo, no deal was signed. Rwanda never stopped backing M23, and it's still going. Same sentiment for Gaza. There's still an act of genocide happening. The bombing never stopped. In fact, 70 Palestinians since dawn today have been killed as a result of the ongoing, continuous bombing and occupation that Israel is doing on Gaza. And right now, as we look at each other through the screen, Donald Trump is meeting with Erdogan, head of Turkey, that of which he just thanked just yesterday for helping ensure that peace will be reinstilled in the Middle East alongside Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and several other places in the Middle East. So you can see how I named that video on that Patreon, The Great Betrayal, right? Because there is no peace happening currently. In fact, things are only getting worse. What I'm seeing from Israel as they continue to increase the aggression, because not shortly after Donald Trump announced that the aggression would come to a stop and ordered Netanyahu to stop bombing, he in fact sped up the aggression, ensuring that he killed as many as he possibly could. Not only that, he criticized that Donald Trump was silly for taking the deal because he never thought that Hamas would stop, so he wasn't going to agree to the ceasefire terms regardless. They're telling you the quiet parts out loud, which to me illustrates and depicts the enemy's desperation. That can be also depicted in the brutal assault and attack on Greta Thunberg, the activist that was aboard the Samu flotilla and is currently in Israeli captivity, grabbing her by her hair, yanking her in front of everyone, trying to set the scene and set the tone so they learn. When all you're showing us is that you're desperate because you know that this is more than likely not going to go the way that you want it to go. And you have a slim to none chance for things working out the way you like to. Sure, we know that Larry is supposed to be getting something off the top when it comes to this great trust Gaza deal. And sure, we're fully aware that it took several, not one, not two, not three, but several brown Arab countries to help you do this to Palestine. But we're fully aware of your tricks and your schemes and how y'all don't even trust each other. So why should we trust you? Folks, it's important to understand that Gaza needs you now more than ever, the same exact way that the Congo and Sudan, as well as the Samud flotilla, needs you right now more than ever. Because as our president continues to lie about the peace, the imaginary peace, Chalkzonian peace that he's trying to bring to the Middle East, despite them being the only ones disrupting the peace, the Gazans are suffering every single second of the day. They're still suffering. While I'm happy to see that a lot of the fishermen, as the enemy had his back turned, was able to get some fish so that they can last a few more days, I am not happy to see that they have increased their operations and increased their aggression on the Palestinians. And right now, as the Al-Tufa neighborhood had to bury 17, majority of them being babies, children, from the brutal assault that happened on the city, on the neighborhood in Gaza City, Channel 12, Israel's Channel 12 is boasting about how Hamas accepted the terms from pressure from Ankara, which is Turkey, and from the United States. Basically citing that the remainder of the hostages will be released in the next upcoming days. And Benjamin Netanyahu followed suit by ensuring that Egypt will be hosting Israel and Hamas delegates in Egypt, which to me sounds like a setup, right? But additionally, Benjamin Netanyahu stated that Hamas will be dismantled either by agreement or by force. By agreement or by war. Folks, these nations' leaders never wanted peace. They had always considered Palestine the sacrifice. And in their eyes, the area was already prepped enough for them to go ahead and make the ultimate sacrifice. Because like I said before, whatever they are praising on the other side of that wall, that's what they're feeding that blood and that pain to. They never once wanted peace. They always planned on sacrificing an entire nation of babies, baby blood, Palestinian baby blood, innocent civilians. Is it making sense now? Are y'all putting the pieces together? How evil and demonic this is? That they're praising a evil and demonic entity that they're feeding baby blood and all that stuff to? Body parts and organs to? Selling that stuff? They never wanted peace. And I would, if I could make an educated guess, I would guess that in the following days, if Hamas releases all of these hostages, they will not be setting up anything for them. They will just go in there and finish the job. You're just going to finish doing what they already wanted to do. We cannot give up now. If anything, now is not the time to be afraid. Now is the time to dig your nails in the ground and to keep fighting, to stand firmly because they're desperate, which means that something is on the line and they're running out of time. Now is the time to fight harder than you've ever fought before to ensure that Palestine will be free, no matter the cost. I don't know. Stay tuned though, because there's a lot going on in Lebanon too. And I can tell that things are about to get a lot worse before they get any better.